Good morning and welcome to Broadsheets, a panel show discussing current political headlines within Ofcom regulations. I'm Sam Stimpson and today on the panel I am joined by broadcaster Oliver Sykes. Welcome, Oliver.
Hello.
So today we will be discussing a handful of headlines from the honey trap scandal to the general election. Let's start with a lighter news story though. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has apologised for wearing Adidas Sambas. Could you elaborate on this story?
Yes, well, it was pictured that Rishi Sunak was wearing these Adidas trainers, and most people were talking about how sort of he's ruined the shoe. But actually, I don't think he necessarily has. I mean, he's entitled to wear what he wants. Perhaps it doesn't look the best when wearing a shirt and trousers, but I think other politicians such as Sir Keir Starmer's been seen in Stone Island jumper, I think. Yeah. So you know, everyone's going to get judged for what they wear, regardless. But Rishi Sunak's known for looking very smart usually. So
has it put you off wearing Sambas?
I don't have a pair of Sambas, but I do have a pair of Adidas trainers. But no, not really. No.
So as you said, that people are a bit upset about this, and one user has said that they sold their Sambas on Vinted a few weeks ago, and they always regretted it until they saw a picture of Rishi Sunak wearing some. Do you think that's a bit uncalled for, or? I
mean, I suppose if you're not particularly a fan of Rishi Sunak, then maybe you wouldn't want to wear those trousers. Not trousers, sorry, trainers.
Fair enough. So going back to your point about Keir Starmer, should politicians try to fit in with fashion trends?
Not. They can do what they want, I think. I mean, I think they should be smart when they're in Parliament. Obviously, they have to be. Most of the time, I think they have to wear, formal attire. But it's up to them to what they wear in their spare time.
Yeah, I suppose it helps them sort of connect with, like, it's a new generation of voters. We've got a general election possibly coming up this year. Well, hopefully coming up this year. So perhaps they're just trying to appeal to the general public.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's that side to it. Yeah.
Now, leading on to our second story, it's about Angela Rayner, who is the Shadow Deputy Prime Minister and the MP for Ashton-under-Lyne, a constituency here in Greater Manchester. She has stated that if she will resign if she is found guilty of breaking electoral law. Now, you might remember a few years ago, Oliver, she called Boris Johnson out for breaking some law and being investigated, well, it was Partygate, and she called for him to resign as he was being investigated should she follow through with her own sort of attack on the previous Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, if she's found to have broken the law, I think she should do the honourable thing and resign. But, you know, we'll have to, it's been investigated by the police, so we'll have to see the outcome of that. But she believes that she's done no wrongdoing. But yeah, it's obviously will be unfortunate because for her, that if she does have to resign. But obviously, if you break the law, that's what you've got to do.
Now, for all the viewers out there who maybe don't know what is going on with Angela Rayner, could you explain what's happening for them?
So I believe it's to do with her selling off her council house and her not paying the right amount of capital gains tax. So I'm not entirely sure whether she should have paid more or less, but basically she didn't. More, I think she should have paid, but I'm not entirely sure whether if that was the right outcome or whatever. That she paid sorry, I'm getting confused with my words. Yeah, basically, has she paid the right amount? Is essentially what is being investigated.
So do you think she will regain her, or keep her seat in the next general election with this whole scandal going on?
I believe she may. Yeah, obviously it's up in the air really at the moment. But I believe she probably will. She's the deputy Labour leader, so you know I think she's got a good chance of. She's high profile, so yeah.
Right, thank you. So moving on to our next story, we're sticking with politicians and actually an MP here in Greater Manchester. So that is the honey trap scandal, and it's absolutely rocked the public trust in Parliament in the past few weeks. So both Angela Rayner and William Wragg, who is the leading figure of the honey trap scandal, they're both representing constituencies here in Greater Manchester. Angela Rayner is Ashton-under-Lyne and William Wragg is representing Hazel Grove. So what do you know about, just about this whole scandal?
Well, I think William Wragg handed out his the phone number of this person to lots of other MPs, which I just don't think was the right thing to do at all. I mean, if you don't know the person at all, why would you be handing that out? I think it's just very irresponsible, and obviously he's had to step down from a committee, am I right in saying? Two committees, yeah. And he's not going to be standing at the next election. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very, very bizarre, and I think it's very responsible, and I think MPs should be very cautious about what they do, and especially in such a high-profile role that they've got.
That is part of the Parliament. They have about national security, and it's somewhere that politicians can go to if they are in need of, say, if they've been blackmailed by someone online. There is resources, and he chose not to go for it.
Well, he should have. He should have. Yeah. He's not done the right thing, I don't think.
And now I think it's almost 20 people in politics. So it's not just politicians. It's also political journalists. So
I saw that. Yeah.
He's been involved in this. He received messages from this unknown number who was calling themselves either Abby or Charlie, depending on who they were sending messages to. And it's really undermined the public trust in the government, wouldn't you say? Yeah,
I mean, on top of things, other scandals that have gone on, I believe that it doesn't bode well for them.
So do you think this will affect the local elections that are coming up on the 2nd of May? So today is the 16th of April. It's the final day that you can apply to vote on the 2nd of May. So we've got the local council elections, and we also have the Greater Manchester Mayor elections. Can you elaborate on either of these?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think that what's gone on in Parliament will necessarily maybe affect this, because this is obviously the sort of local authority level. So this is sort of things such as your sort of local councils. So it's things that are really important to people still, like potholes and recycling, bins being emptied. It's more for local issues rather than sort of the national broader issues that people are electing to represent them. So I think that it'll be interesting to see how they go for the Conservatives, obviously, and Labour, to see how this may have an effect on the general election. But with the Manchester mayor election, I think that Andy Burnham will get back in again for a third term, most likely.
So you told me earlier there's been a change in the way that this mayor election is working. So what was it like before, and how is it different this time?
Before it was the supplementary voting system, and it's moved now to first past the post system. So first past the post is recognised for delivering a clear majority, for being very simple and understandable for voters. So I believe it also gives a clear winner. So it probably is going to work in favour for Andy Burnham if he does top the poll. It'll probably give him, if he does win, he'll give him quite a sort of clear run ahead of other candidates, compared to maybe if supplementary vote, it perhaps would have been closer between maybe candidates behind Andy Burnham. Who knows how it will go.
Right, the first two times he won a big majority. So in 2017 he won with the supplementary vote at 63.4%, and then in 2021, 3 years ago, he got 67.3%. Do you think he will perhaps get more support this time, especially with the bus network coming in, the B network?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, really. I'm not from this area, so I'm not too. I don't keep an eye particularly on Manchester issues. I've only obviously moved here in the past few months, but I imagine that he will probably stay relatively the same in terms of his share of the vote.
I think that's nice to know. We've actually got, going back up to the local elections and the general election that is coming up at some point this year. We've actually got the polls here. So Labour have got a clear step ahead of the Conservatives. But what it is key to note is that Reform are actually increasing their support pretty quickly. And that is with, like, see Lee Anderson, him moving along, and all the support Nigel Farage is gaining from politicians, particularly from the Conservatives. What are you expecting to see at the general election? A Labour win or Conservative will sneak in?
Well, I believe that obviously as the opinion polls suggest, and they're not always 100% accurate, but I believe that the Labour Party will win. I believe that the Conservative Party will perhaps lose a large amount of seats. I mean, they're saying that the Labour Party is to gain quite a few seats in Scotland.
Okay.
Obviously, the SNP have had quite a turbulent time of late, so that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out up in Scotland. And I believe that the Liberal Party is going to perhaps, according to opinion polls, gain more seats as well. But the Green Party and Plaid Cymru, I believe, are going to perhaps lose a seat, and the Green Party are going to stay on course. But obviously, Reform, I believe is it 12% increase or share or something?
13.1, which
13.1.
is a significant increase to how they were just say like this time last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So as Conservative are sort of spiralling down and becoming a bit weaker with all the scandals, they seem to be picking up some momentum.
Well, yeah. So I think a lot of the sort of Conservative, well, obviously Lee Anderson's defected, so perhaps we may see, if Reform keep gaining popularity in the polls, we may see more Conservatives move over, and then their popularity keep gaining. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, because we don't know when the election's going to be. Obviously, it's going to be in the second half of the year. That's what Rishi Sunak is suggesting, and it's apparently, according to what I was looking at on the BBC, was saying that it's got to be held by the latest the 28th of January 2025. But I can see it being December time, I think.
Is that your prediction?
I would say it's likely to be around there. I wouldn't say it's for definite on that, but I imagine, late on in the year.
All right, well, thank you for joining me, Oliver, and that's all for today. And we'll see you here at Broadsheets in September. Thank you.